And see how many people come back in. This is part 2. Sorry, guys. I got a phone call on my phone and it froze up to live. So we couldn't, I couldn't get back on. Usually it reconnects. But, yeah, it usually reconnects and then, but it didn't that time. So we're going to wait and see who gets back in here. This is part 2 of the story. Part 2, guys. I apologize for the first part, but I got a phone call from Jason from JJ Drones and it froze up the live. And then I couldn't reconnect. It wouldn't reconnect. You could hear me, but I couldn't reconnect. So we're going to wait and see, get some people in here real quick. And then we will finish the story, guys. Come here. Hi, puppy. All right, we got 2 people in here. 2 people back, I think, for part 2. Crossover, what's up, buddy? I had part 1. I was just talking about my story for my vacation. And hope this is a good story. All right, everybody's coming back. So to get the next rest of the story, pay $19.99, and you can hear the rest of the story. No, I'm just kidding. I saw all your guys' comments. So yeah, crossover. I was talking. I had another live set up before, and I was telling my story about my vacation. And Jason from JJ Drones called me, and it froze up, but they could hear me, but my video was frozen. Yeah, I seen Chris paid the $1.99, so we're good. So now you get it. Hey, Native, what's up, buddy? So, part 1, you're going to have to go back and listen to part 1 because part 2, I'm going to continue on part 2 here. I'm going to give it a couple minutes here. But John and Alvin were in my last one. I think Chris was in there. Hitch was in there. So we're going to try to wait for some more people to come back in, and I'm going to finish the story of the vacation. So, you're at work, Native? Cool. It's always good to work. I'm heading to work at 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock today. So, but yeah, I'm going to finish the story up here in a second. We'll see if Chris comes in because I know he was in here as well. So we'll wait for a little bit and see. Did you guys get the notifications right away? Like after I ended that live and then I made another one. Did you get the notification? Did it come up in your thing? Or how did you know? Did you just look for it? Okay, you were looking for it? Okay. Yeah, I tried to do it as quickly as possible. I didn't write a description or nothing, but I can always do that later. Put the description in and all that. So we got 5 people in here right now. I don't know who all was in. There he is. There's Chris. Yes. Thanks, Chris, for the $1.99 super. I appreciate you, buddy. And just for another $19.99, you can hear the rest of the story. No, I'm just kidding. I went to the bathroom. Okay. Alvin said he got to pay for it. Alvin, you're always winning free stuff. You don't have to pay for nothing. This one popped up, but the other didn't. Yeah, that's weird. Hey, Emmy. Thanks for coming in. Okay. So I think everybody was in here. I think Hitch was in there as well. But that's okay. So thank you. Appreciate it, Emmy. So anyway, I have part 1 of this video, this live. I was just telling a story before, and I got a phone call, and my live froze up, and you could hear me, but you couldn't see me. So I stopped that live and started part 2. So if you want to hear, I'm going to start where I left off from part 1. So if you guys want to hear the story from the beginning, go over to the part 1 and listen to it, and then you'll know the rest of the story here. So anyway, where was I at? I was at the U-Haul thing, okay? So we pull down to the crossway. There's 4-way, there's a light. We're making a left. We got to go up the road about 500 yards. We go across. As soon as I get through the red light, boom, the truck stalls. Nothing. Just stalls dead. So my truck is in the right lane going making a left, and my trailer is in the left lane. So I am like in a V-shaped right in the 4-way. So I am like, okay, that's not good. And you all can still hear me good. My video's okay and you can hear me fine. So I'm stuck right there. Shut the truck off, start it back up, nothing. It's just trying to turn over. Nothing's happening. So I got the truck almost jackknifed. Well, not jackknifed, but turned to the left in the crossway. I don't know what happened. There was a Cadillac, a white Cadillac, like a truck Cadillac sitting there at the light, just watching us all. Okay, so we stopped. I'm like, okay, we got to get this backed up so I could at least free one side so people can go around me. But the truck is turned and I have my trailer on it. And I have no steering because the truck's off. So I jump out of the truck. And this is all like, how do I want to say it? This is all meant, it ain't like I'm panicking or nothing. I get out of the truck. My daughter gets out and my son, I'm like, just stay in the truck. My wife gets out. My son gets out, but I told my daughter to get back in the truck. So my son wants to help push the vehicle. So I tell my wife, get in the truck and put it in neutral, and we're going to back it up, and you got to cut the wheel to the hard to the right, and we're going to try to push it out of the lane. So, well, we were sort of on a hill, so she gets in the truck, puts it in neutral, and I swear to God, she put it in neutral, and we backed up when we got out of it, but she could not turn it enough, so the truck was almost jackknifed with the trailer, okay? It was like straight. It was like a L-shaped, like this, in the lane, but there was enough for people to get around. So I was relieved with that. So the people were going around me, but this Cadillac was staying there. He was sitting there. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, my son's there and me. My wife's at the truck. And I swear to God, in 5 seconds, I had 15 people around me. And we are pushing the truck across, straight across. There's a bank parking lot that's closed on the weekends, and it's closed for the holiday. A bank parking lot across the street. I had 15 guys grab the truck and push. And we pushed it, got it across the street, over to the bank, and we're like straight ahead now. And we're off to the side, out of harm's way of everything. I told people, thank you, this, that, and the other, and they were gone. They didn't. I remember there was a kid, probably 18 years old, with no shoes on, helping me push. And they left. I said thank you, and they were gone. Like, they came and they left. So I don't know what that was all about. But it was very cool that they did that. There's one gentleman, I didn't even get his name. My wife knows his name, and I can't remember his name, and I apologize for this. He had a blue old Chevy truck, I believe, or a Ford truck. Young kid, maybe 18, and he was getting his hair cut. Well, he was one help push. So he's sitting there. So he's like, hey, I can get a tow strap from my buddy, and we can tow you, move you up into the parking lot. So he runs up the street, comes back, says he don't have a tow strap. I'm like, we're fine right here on the side of the road. We're off the main road. And across there was railroad tracks, and then there was a park with a lake there where everybody would drive down to bike and walk the pond. So we were cool right there. So we're sitting there, and we're like, okay, now what? Well, out of nowhere, that guy in the white Cadillac pulls up to us. Terry, thank God for Terry. But at the time, I didn't know Terry from a hole in the ground, okay? He pulls up, and he's talking, and I'm like, I'm not in the mood for talking right now, like, I just want to handle the situation. Well, he's sitting there, and he's pretty adamant about telling me stuff and everything, and I'm like, okay. But I'm not like really listening. But I apologized, Terry, at first, because I was like, he was in my way type deal, and I was just like, all right, we got to get this ready. What are we doing, Sue? You got to try to rent a vehicle. Da 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 da. But it was still calm. But at that point, I was getting a little bit like, I was getting to that frenzied mode. Okay. So I'm like, man, yes, it was amazing. Okay. But they were gone. They pushed me across and they left, except for this one kid. So we're sitting there talking. This guy's talking to me, Terry, and I'm like not really paying attention, and I am. And he's like, hey, I can go get my truck, and I can tow your trailer. I'm like, you're not taking my trailer anywhere. I'm thinking to myself, no. But then as everything sets in, my wife is over here, and we're talking to Terry, and Terry's like, I own a campground 13 minutes away from here. I can take your trailer, put it in our storage area until you get all situated. So my wife and I are thinking, okay, what can we do? Da, 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 da. She ends up calling an enterprise. It's in Hagerstown, which is 35 to 40 minutes away from where we're at. They're saying they don't have no vehicles. All of a sudden, I don't know what happened. You think about it, what you've seen. Okay, and you have seen us in that mode, John, for sure. So My wife's on the call. She goes, "Hey, I can get a vehicle." She's on the phone. They're telling her there's no vehicles to rent. It's a holiday weekend or nothing. But we can't rent a car. We have our truck is packed with our stuff. Our camper is packed with stuff. We have stuff in the truck for the camper. And Terry, at this point, he's going to get his truck to come back to take my trailer to his storage. And it's Happy Hills Campground in Maryland, in Hancock, Maryland. If anybody ever is in that area, go visit Terry and stay at his place, please. So he goes, and I'm like, whatever, I'm probably never going to see Terry again. He just left, and he was sort of out of my mind at that point. Now I'm focused on Sue, and Sue's saying, they don't have anything, we can't get anything. And now this guy, this kid, is still standing there because he wants to help me push my truck after I get my trailer off because Terry's supposed to come back to pick the trailer up. And I sort of like just let that go in one ear, not the other for a second. So I'm talking to Sue, and Sue's like, they don't have nothing. She goes, wait, they do have one. They have a Jeep Wagoneer. And Sue's like, what the hell is a Jeep Wagoneer? It sounds like a small little vehicle. So I'm like, okay. She's like, I can get it. So I'm standing there and I'm like, well, how now the next thing, because you're not thinking, the next thing is how am I going to get you, how are you going to get there? Am I going to get there? And I'm not leaving the truck, so you got to get there. And it's 35 minutes away. Well, the kid says, I'll drive you. And I'm like, dude, you don't have to. He's like, I'll drive you. I'm like, you don't have to. He goes, it's okay for people to be nice to other people. And this was a young kid, dude. So that blew me away right there. So Sue has all our major credit cards. She handles all the financing, all the bills. If I go there, my head's not there, I'm going to sign the wrong pay. I'm going to do something. So Sue, I said, she's like, I'll go with them. I'll go with them. So she gets in the vehicle. I have the two kids with me. But before she goes with him, he helps me. I take the trailer off. I unhitch it from the tongue. Him and I push the truck forward so we got enough room for if Terry ever shows up again. He's gonna take my. Yeah, Sue gets the $1.99 for sure. So we separate the trailer from the truck, and I push it probably 30, 40 yards up there. So if Terry comes back, which I don't think Terry's coming back, he's going to get the trailer on, then we're just giving Terry our trailer to take somewhere. Like, I don't even know. So Sue's like, I got to go. They close at 12. It's 11 o'clock in the morning. It's 11 o'clock in the morning by this time. They close at 12. They're 40 minutes away. Okay. Yeah, the dog's not interested. She's just chilling there. Hey, Hope. Hope, what are you doing? You like the story or what? Yeah. So after all that, okay, so Sue goes off with a strange dude. This is crazy. But he's a kid. He's a nice dude. She gets in there. She had some things that if something happened, she would have just boom, done over whatever. Okay. Hey, Lane. Thanks for coming in. Hey, Mom. How are you? So she goes off to go rent this Jeep Wagoneer, which I'm like, yeah, we're screwed. Okay. So she goes off, and I'm sitting there with the kids. There's a bike store down the road. I'm like, okay, let's go walk down to the bike store. We got to go to the bathroom. So we walk into the bike store. They have these shirts that say Hancock on. I'm like trying to make fun of it. I'm like, we're buying shirts here. If we get all this situated, we're buying shirts here and all that stuff. So we go use the bathroom, come up, we're sitting there. The kids are great. They're on their phones, they're hanging out, they're asking for me for help. I'm like, nope, just sit there, you're the best. Just sit there. Do your thing. So they get out, they're standing in the parking lot, and they're on their phone. Navi, what's up, bro? Thanks for coming in, man. Long time no see. Thank you for coming in, buddy. I see you're getting ready for hunting season. So Sue's gone, I'm there, and then all of a sudden we got to call AAA to get my truck because we got a vehicle now. Now we're working on, while she's driving and I'm there, we're working on calling AAA to get my truck towed back up to Edinburgh to my mechanic who worked on it the first time because he's got to fix it. It's a warranty thing. It's going to you, buddy. Rob. It's my mechanic up there. Thank you, Rob. It ain't Rob's fault what happened, but he got to fix it, okay? So I called AAA. Well, AAA dealer is the guy that I was just at, the R&S, the Roger guy. So he was helping. He's like, hey, I have a premium platinum out of this world package deal where I get 200 free miles. Okay. And at the time we didn't know I have RV with that too. So I could have got the RV towed as well. Okay. Thanks, Navi. I appreciate you, brother. So I'm calling him. I get on the phone with Roger, who I just talked to up the street. That was the dealer we were at, the mechanic. And he's like, I could find you within 200 miles. Da 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 da. Okay, okay, okay. Yep, yep. So we're looking at where I can tow it to, and then my mechanic's got to come down and meet him. Okay, so we're planning on doing that. Or if we have to get another tow truck or something like that, we're planning all this stuff. Sue's driving to get the truck. I'm trying to do this. So I call Roger. Well, Roger started getting a little irritated in a way because I'm in like not panic mode, but I don't have nothing to work off of. And Roger at the beginning said he was going to help me out and find the 200 mile. Then he said, "Oh, I ain't doing all that." Well, I guess Roger wanted paid or something because I get 200 free miles and then it was 56 miles to my mechanic. Well, it was free 200 miles, and then to get it towed another 56 was $395 to tow it 56 extra miles. That wasn't happening. I wasn't paying $356 to tow it 56 miles. No way. No way was I doing that. But we were in a bind, so we might have had to do that, okay? But we were like, no. So my wife said, that's okay. My coworker ran my foot over with the John Deere Gator. And that ain't too good. So Roger and I was like, okay, Roger, I'll call you back when I figure this out. And I was sort of like, okay. And Roger helped me from the beginning. So, and I know he was getting irritated because I was calling him saying, hey, I need to find a place. Da, 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 da. He didn't need to do all that, and he didn't want to do all that. So, and I didn't blame him for that. So that AAA thing was our only choice. It was close. And I'm thinking he's close. He's right here. Use him. But we don't have to use him. We can call AAA and use anybody. So my next goal was to get everything out of the truck and onto the sidewalk. So when my wife pulls up, we can put everything in the new rental car and we can get our truck towed. Well, if it was going to happen real quick like that and he was coming down to pick it up, I would have had to take everything out. Well, I didn't. So my wife texts me and calls me, call AAA, da 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 da. I call AAA. She's like 15 minutes away with the vehicle. She said she had a big vehicle. Don't worry, we would fit everything in it. So I was like, cool. I didn't even have to take it out. So that was like a step that we didn't have to do. So I left everything in there. So I get on the phone with AAA, one lady. I must have called the wrong. I called roadside assistance instead of the platinum side. I messed up. Okay, so I called the roadside assistant. They're like, "Yeah, you don't have you only have 100 miles towing this that." I'm like, at this point, it's starting to wear on me a little bit now. Now I'm starting to get more pissed. Okay, my kids could see it as well. I'm trying to handle myself and be calm for them, but they were calm. They didn't care. I started losing it a little bit on this person at AAA. I'm like, we got 200 miles. No, you don't. You have this and that. Well, here I end up calling the wrong number, so it's my bad. Okay. Hey, Jody, thanks for coming in. After this story, you have to go back and watch part one to get the beginning of the story. But I'm just telling you my story here. So my wife goes, I'm going to handle it when I get there. And you know me as a guy, I can handle it. Well, I didn't handle it. I called the wrong person. So props to my wife. And that's why, she's just amazing. So she pulls up in this white Jeep Wagoneer thing. This thing is like $100,000 vehicle. It's got lights, tricks, bells, and whistles on it. I don't even know what's what. She pulls up. The kids get out of the car. We disconnect the trailer. We already had that push. They're loading everything up in the vehicle. All of a sudden, Terry pulls up with his F-250 with his trailer hitch. Pulls up to the side. He's like, hey, let's get this loaded up. Da, da, da. Now I'm like, okay, where's it going? Who are you? What are we doing? Now I'm interested in Terry because my wife and the kids are loading everything into the vehicle. So me and Terry talk. Terry gives me his card, his Happy Hills campground in Hancock, Maryland. We're going there and staying there once we get a vehicle that we can drive. So anyway, Terry pulls up. I load it up. He tells me, here's the camper. Here's my personal phone number. Here's the camp phone number. We're going to stick it right in the storage for you. No problem. So our plan was stick it in storage till Wednesday because we got to have it at the camp down in Ocean City on Thursday or Friday. So Terry takes the trailer away. Boom, he's gone. So the trailer's gone. We got anything that we needed out of the trailer for the beach. We take the trailer. The trailer's going away till Wednesday. Okay? But Once we get everything packed in the trailer and everything, we're going to drive up, meet Terry at his campground to make sure there is a campground, and pay him to store it there till Wednesday. And for the tow. I mean, the guy towed it. He should get paid for that. So he takes it away. So now we take everything out of the truck. While we're doing that, my wife's on the phone with AAA. She calls the right person. It took about 11 minutes to get everything under. Uncle Buck's Towing is coming on the flatbed to take it to 200 miles to meet my mechanic. And then we're going to get it there the next day. So we get everything there. We're sitting there waiting, and we're hungry. So we took a ride. We talked to the tow truck driver. The tow truck driver's like, I'll be there in 20 minutes. Well, Hardee's is right down the road. So we take the thing down the road. Oh, no. Let me back up. Before my wife gets there, the cops pull up. And I'm on the passenger side of the truck on the phone with AAA. Or Roger, one of those two. And the cop comes up to the window. Nice cop. And he's like, hey, can you move the vehicle? You're in the side of the road here. You're sort of in the way. I'm like, I can't move the vehicle. Can't start it. I said, if you want to help me push it, we'll push it. And he's like, well, I said, the tow truck will be here in about 20 minutes. He goes, oh, don't worry about it. You're good where you're at. I said, I was in the middle of the crossway. I said, but we pushed it over here. This is the situation. I basically told him the story I'm telling you in about 5 minutes to let him know what's going on. He's like, dude, you're good. He knew we were in a state that we didn't want to be in. Like, we were in that state of mind. So he was like, cool, you're good. If the tow truck's coming here, you're fine. And he leaves. He goes, are you okay? Do you want water? Do you want anything? We're like, no, we got coolers. We got food. We're good. So he left. Well, then 5 minutes later, my wife pulls up. We start unloading the stuff, and Terry takes the trailer, and he goes away. So he goes to Happy Hills Campground. He's taking our trailer to storage. Okay? Yes, this was my kickback, relaxing trip, Jody. Yes. Stickers are on the way. Thanks, Johnny. Appreciate you, buddy. Sorry if I miss anybody in the chat, but I'm into the story. So he goes. So we get everything loaded up. We're waiting for the tow truck. Uncle Buck's Towing. Flatbed's going to take it 200 miles to Edinburgh. 4 hours away or whatever. So we get to 200 miles free. So we're rolling. We're sitting there. We're hungry. So we're like, okay, we find a spot. We drive down, get food, come back. We come back. We're sitting there eating. We get done with our food. My wife and I go walk with the kids. We look at the pond and everything. All of a sudden, Uncle Buck's Towing, they made a left turn instead of a right. They go up the hill. They called us. We're like, hey, turn around. We're right here. They looked. They said, okay. They come down, pulled up right next to us. It was a husband and wife combo. They were the happiest people in the world. They made us feel awesome. It was good to know that it was in good hands. So I gave them $60 as a tip and said, hey, take her to dinner on your trip. You know, go get her something nice to eat or whatever. So I gave him $60. He loaded the truck up on the trailer, and they left. They're heading to Edinburgh, PA. So they're heading away. My buddy meets them there at it, and it goes to my mechanic. So it's at my mechanic's that night, okay? Okay, so John Candy and Uncle Buck. So it's nice to know, okay, so we're like, all right, cool. Our next step is we got to drive up to Happy Hills Campground to see Terry and pay him for the storage and pay him for the tow. Everything's good now. You know, everything's cool. I was deflating a little bit. You know, like, okay, we're getting there. So we drive about 15 minutes, and Terry told me some back ways to go because it was hard to get to another way or whatever. But we just put in the GPS, and wherever way the GPS took us, we went. So we go to Happy Hills. We pull into Happy Hills. There's a really nice house, which is Terry's house up top. He's the owner of the campground that we find out, by the way. And so down below that, it was like Whoville. It was like his house was on the hill, and all the campground was down below. What's up, Soap? What's up, Billy? Thanks for coming in, man. So we go down. We see our trailer parked off to the side in its storage. We go to the trailer. We stop. We get out. We walk down to the office. Terry's daughters work there, and his grandkids are all there. It's a family campground. It's an awesome-looking campground. They have quads. They have cornhole lined up. There's all kinds of people playing cornhole. They have an awesome pool. They got a beautiful clubhouse. So we walk in, and we see his daughter, and they're like, oh, you're Ted and family. And we're like, yeah. And they're like, yeah, my dad told me about it. I was like, is Terry around? So she gets him on the radio. Terry comes in, shake his hand. Thank you, Terry. Da-da-da-da-da. Usually it's like $20 a night to store it. He charged us 10 to store it there till Wednesday. Usually the tow is like 60 some bucks. He charged us like $40. So it was a total of like 80 or $90 to have it stored there from Saturday to Wednesday, and for the tow. So we paid him. We bought some stuff there. We go up. We make sure the trailer's all good to go, and we leave with the trailer sitting there. So now we're heading to Ocean City. So we drive to Ocean City. We get to my mom's. We get to the beach house about 8 o'clock. We unload everything and we start our vacation. Okay, so we're hanging out at the beach. We're eating good, and you've seen that video in part one. The part one of the video of my vacation video. We're eating. We're down at the boardwalk. We're down at the beach. We're having fun. We're crabbing. We're doing everything just like a normal vacation, and with all that in front of it. Okay, so we're planning on, my wife has planned this. Now we need a truck to tow our vehicle. We have a Wagoneer without a tow hitch. You're not allowed to tow with trucks, with vehicles from Enterprise. They don't have no tow hitches. You have to go, which we didn't know, to a trucking rental from Enterprise and get a tow hitch. Well, that's in Hagerstown. But we got to go now to Hancock to take the Wagoneer back, and then from there we have to get Enterprise to drive us to Hagerstown to rent an F-250 truck with a hitch. And this is all going to be Wednesday. So my wife and I plan to get up at 4 a.m. on Wednesday, drive 4 hours up to our car to return it, drive 30 minutes back to get the truck, and drive the 4 hours back to the beach. So we had a great time, all the way up. Wednesday morning, Sue and I get up. We take our 4-hour trek to Hancock, to the Enterprise dealer there. We go in. We put the Jeep Wagoneer, give it to them. They use the Jeep Wagoneer to drive us to the truck rental place in Hagerstown, 30 minutes away. So we get there. Then there is a little hitch in the giddy up where they say, well, we're not supposed to take it back to Pittsburgh. We can't drop it off in Pittsburgh. But my wife has talked to these people throughout the week, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We have to take it to Pittsburgh. We have a trailer. We're taking it back to Pittsburgh. Well, for an additional $250, we can take it to Pittsburgh. So on top of the rental fee for the truck, which my wife didn't know, we have to pay another $250. So she started to get a little bit like, with the money situation, she gets upset. Like, she's an accountant. She knows what to do with everything, and she don't like when surprises come up. Well, this was a surprise. The whole thing was a surprise. But she handled it well. I handled it well. So we paid the $250. We got it. We're taking it to Pittsburgh, no doubt. So now from there, we have to drive back to Happy Hills to get our trailer and drive it down to the beach, the frontier town, to store it there until Friday. So we load up the hitch, we load up the trailer, we drive the F-250. It's a diesel, which I might be buying a diesel anyway because I really liked it. So we drive it back to the beach 4 hours. We go to Frontier Town. Instead of us storing it, we were allowed to go to our campsite. So we went there and we stored it at our campsite, dropped it off, and we went back to the beach house and we hung out there Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and had a great time. It was awesome. And Thursday, was it? We went fishing, shark fishing. I took Theo shark fishing. You're going to want to see that video because we end up catching something awesome. So make sure you check out that video when it comes out. I'm not going to spoil it, but just make sure you check that video out. It's going to be awesome. So we go fishing. We do our things. So Friday, we hang out at the beach. We did some stuff. Friday morning, we go over, though. This is before we hung out at the beach. Friday morning, Sue and I get up at 7:30, 8 o'clock. Drive over to the campground, set the campground up. Her and I did it in about an hour and a half. We put the pop-up up, set all our fishing stuff up, got all our tables, chairs, everything we set up. Came back there around 11-ish. Went to the beach, hung out, did all that stuff. Went down and ate Friday night. And then Friday night after that, the kids, my nieces, nephews, Ace, came over to the campground to do some fishing in the campground Friday night because they're leaving Saturday morning. We stayed there Friday night, Saturday night, and we leave Sunday. So we did that. We caught some fish Friday night, hung out. stayed there. Then the kids left and went home. My mom and dad packed up the truck Saturday morning early, and then they go home. And we stay there in Frontier Town Friday, Saturday, and we leave Sunday to come home. We stay there all weekend. It's just like at the end, hey, what's up, Gary? Thanks for coming in. So we end up staying there the rest of the weekend with just our family, and it was needed because it was like it was hectic, but it all happened. It has me thinking about a lot of things, and I don't think about a lot of things. Believe me. I'm no. Don't get me wrong. I church, and I served as an altar boy younger. I was in church all the time. But something about this trip had me thinking. Like everything had to fall in place perfectly for it to work. And my wife said a thing when we were pulling up, and this is funny. When we were pulling into RNS, her mom passed away a few years ago, and she was young, and that was very tragic for my wife and our family. And my wife took it pretty hard, 'cause she was young, and her mom and her were very, very close. And her mom likes Heart, the band Heart. When we pulled up the RNS, Heart was playing, and my wife said that she's like, everything's gonna be cool because Heart was playing when we pulled up to this thing. It was her mom, and I was like, yeah, I just let it, whatever. And then as I'm driving, when you drive that much, you just think of things, okay? Hey, Skipjack. So I'm driving. I'm just thinking of like everything had to be perfect. Everything had to work perfectly. We got a vehicle on a holiday weekend that we shouldn't have probably been able to rent. We got our truck towed, no questions asked, properly, and like we got everything to the truck back up there safe, and my mechanic has it right now. We got a guy. We had a guy that had a campground 13 minutes away from us. We blocked that guy in the cross. If it was a minute later, that guy would have been gone through that crossroad. He wouldn't have been at that light. We pulled in front of him and stalled in front of him in that light, and he was there. Uh, the kid that helped us push the vehicle, all the kids that came out, and guys and people that came out to help us push the vehicle across, and then just left and was gone. It was pretty amazing. The kid that drove my wife to get the truck and didn't want any money for it was amazing. Terry with the campground was amazing. The enterprise rental guy that drove us to the truck rental place, amazing. That doesn't happen. Do you know what I mean? That does not happen. Uh, and it had me thinking a lot on this trip. So we went. We had a great time at the campground, um, and we brought the truck back last night, and we dropped it off. Uh, yeah, you're right. And so everybody was safe. Nobody got. It could have been tragic if we would have left Friday night at midnight and that happened to us. Who knows what would happen? Yeah, we helped a lady that had dementia in Ocean City. She was walking in Walmart parking lot and she didn't know where her car was and she wasn't supposed to be driving. Her family didn't know she was out with the car. I took the car with her back to her house and contacted her family and they met us there and they were like, "Oh my god, she shouldn't have had this car. She shouldn't have been out." And we dropped the car off and everything and they wanted to give us money and stuff. We just said no, we just wanted to help out. So maybe you're right. But just think about all that. Like what happened. And it was definitely crazy. And what's funny is the whole time, um, the whole time we were going through all this stuff, all this bad stuff. Um, we were thinking about our friend's daughter, Sam. My daughter's friend that got killed in that car crash is going to be a year on September 20th. and they're having a big ceremony for her this year. You know, the parents, Nanita and Carl, you know, they're watching our dogs while we went down there. And uh, the girl lost her life and the parents lost their daughter. And we had that in our heads the whole time. Like, it could be a lot worse. And that stuff that we went through there was nothing compared to what they went through. And that has me thinking a lot of our trip and like everything that we went through. Like, she could have been involved in that too. She could have helped out a little bit on that one. Sam. But her mom, Sam, I mean, have it as you can say what you want, but it don't happen like that, guys. It does not work out like that. Uh, yes. Hey, Uncle Gary. Yeah, you got to look at part one of the story. It's the story of our vacation and how we got there, and then you have to go back and listen to this because it's pretty amazing. But yeah, like you know, we're broke down in the middle of nowhere. We get a guy. We blocked the guy that owns a campground that can take our trailer. We had guys come out and help us push. We had the kid take my wife to get the rental vehicle. We had a rental vehicle, one. We didn't have it when she was on the phone. And like 5 minutes later, they had one. While she's on the phone with them, they're saying, no, we don't have anything. And then all of a sudden, we get one that we need that's perfect. I know it's a little extravagant, don't get me wrong. It had like images on the windows and stuff of cars passing us. And it was just amazing. The Jeep Wagoneer is amazing. My daughter's like, yeah, I could ride this. I'm like, yeah, you could for 100,000. You ain't getting one of these. So we had fun with it in the same sense, but if as you're driving and thinking of all the stuff that had to happen, definitely has you thinking, has me thinking. And I wanted to share that with you guys because I thought that was an interesting story. Yeah. So that's what it is, man. It's a little bit humbling to like you know, just makes you feel good that stuff like that can happen. Like you don't, you know, Uh, but all right, Rick, thank you. GNRF. What's up, Trey? I talked to Trey earlier before the vacation. You know, we were in Ocean City. He's down in Delaware. He was with his family hooking up. He was busy working a lot, so we couldn't hook up this week. But I don't think we could have hooked up this week, Trey, from the story I just said. But like I said, man, it just has me thinking. My wife, and then my wife, it was funny because we're sitting on the beach and my wife was telling my family, and she goes, Teddy even was thinking, I'm like, yeah, whatever. I was just making a joke of it. But she knows. I, it was, uh, it was just something, man. It was just, it hit me hard, put it that way. And I like right now, just talking to you guys, you could probably hear it in my voice just a little bit. Got me thinking and just got me a little bit, you know, choked up here. But man, it is. It was a great vacation. It could have been a disaster. Florida could have been a disaster, but somebody's looking out. Don't know who it is. You tell me. But it makes you think. And this trip made me think. Yeah, man. So just when you think, you know, everything sucks, somebody's always going through something way worse. So always keep that in your head. You know what I mean? Like when we were down there, like we were talking about that. Like Sam, we lost Sam. The parents and Anita and Carl are such good people, and they do such good with what they have. And you know, Anita's got to live with that every day, and Carl without their kids. And we're worried about a truck on the side of the road broke down, and I got my kids. I'm sure they would give up all that to have a day with their daughter. They would go through all that. But you tell me. That's it's pretty heavy stuff, and my whole view of things changed this week. Yeah, we're all safe. We're all home. We're all safe. We had fun. So, but yeah, that's my story. I don't mean to be all choked up about it, but yeah, that's what happened, man. And I'm thinking, and there's a reason for everything, and there's something else out there that helped us, and it makes me. I don't want to say I've always believed in God, you know what I mean, but just when you think you're out and something like that happens, you know what I mean? Like that's what else can what's the other explanation? There's no explanation for it. I don't have it, and believe me, I'm the guy that will make an explanation for you. I will say this happened because of this. It wasn't that, but I don't know what happened this week. God damn it. Well, you guys heard that, so that was my wife calling me, so I gotta go. I got froze up on here, but just like I said, I will be doing some videos here real soon. I gotta get going, so definitely check out some of the videos coming up here if you guys can hear me. But sorry that it froze up. It's probably not gonna come back. I'm gonna end this, and I will talk to you soon, and I will make sure that nobody calls me on the phone the next story time. All right, guys. You all stay safe. Remember, like I always say, take a kid fishing or hunting. We're going to preserve our sport and pass that on to future generations. And we will see ya.